Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to yet another great edition of Topic Time with Harrison Young. That's actually the second time in as many shows that I've had that happen to me, pushing either the wrong button or had a delayed musical experience with my theme music. But we won't worry about that. It just makes it a little more comical. So I have a great guest tonight on Topic Time, but before we get to him, I've got to read the underwriters, and then we will commence with the show officially. We got Dave's Automotive in Hanson. We got NDI Automotive in Whitman, home of the fully certified used car. We got Hennessy Automotive in Kingston. We got Cherry Lane Seat Weaving in West Bridgewater. And we got Smoke and Ashes Tobacco Company corporate office in Abington with stores in Abington, Hanson, Hanover, Pembroke, Weymouth, and Whitman. And I want to thank you guys very much. The tobacco companies and the car companies have it, and now we will start Topic Time officially. So this gentleman here looks something like Gallagher. You guys, you guys know Gallagher. He looks, I've been saying that for years. I knew he looked like somebody. This is Reno Venturi. He's an actor. He's got his own acting studio. He's literally been doing films, acting and other things and projects for like almost 60 years, since 1960. I was a year old in 1960, so it's not quite that long ago, but close. We're going to talk to him tonight. It's going to be a straight discussion from beginning to end. And he gave me so much information, and it was incredible. So I know we're going to fill up the half hour with cool stuff from Reno Venturi. So, Mr. Reno Venturi, thank you for coming up from Connecticut through 2 car wrecks and which kept the traffic going for 2 extra hours to be on my show tonight.
Thank you for having me. I never heard Gallagher before, though. That's a new one. Usually, and because it's all my own hair.
Well, yeah, but you got your hat on.
Gallagher I do that so I won't mess with my hair, but his hair is inside his hat.
Exactly. So when you put the hat on, it was a perfect likeness.
I usually hear Sam Elliott, or I hear Alan Rickman.
Okay.
So, but it's all good. I'll take it.
Good. I'm glad it's good. All right. Well, let's get to your situation now. You're an actor. Like we said, I've described some of the things you do. So what I do with all my guests, and you've got a rich history, I want you to go back as far as you can to even your childhood, if possible, if you can remember that far back. I know it
wasn't that long ago.
I know it wasn't that long ago. He actually has a 44-year-old son who people think is his father. How about that? So you can see how he's aged well.
That's it.
But what I want you to do is to talk about all the things you've done in chronological order to the best of your ability to remember. And I'm sure you can, but just kind of break it down, and then if I have any questions, I'll interject. It's just going to make it easier. So go for it.
Well, I got a lot. I got a lot, but I'm going to do the Reader's Digest version, because then we can sort of elaborate on it. But I actually did start in 1960 and started with a Hypana toothpaste, if anybody knows what that was. Hypana toothpaste was a powdered toothpaste.
Oh, I know what that is.
Bucky Beaver was the icon for that.
Well, when you say you started with Hypana toothpaste, does that mean you did a commercial for it?
I did.
Okay.
I did. So that was really kind of how I started. And my mom was a big band singer. She sang with Spike Lee and a bunch of people.
Spike Lee?
Yep.
Well, the timeline seems a little skewed because how old is Spike? Spike Lee in 1960? Was he even born? He's older than that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She sang with a lot of people, and then my father had a club room and was very close with Dean Martin and Joey Bishop and Elvis Presley, who was like an adopted uncle to me. So I sort of grew up around the Vegas scene a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. Being in California, and it's very close. It's only 4 hours from where we lived.
Okay. Was that where you began life in California, or basically with showbiz and stuff?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. And then I did a lot of things with, TV shows, a lot of acting. I did Sea Hunt and Flipper and things like that.
I used to watch Flipper. Tell me what role did you play on Flipper?
I was just a bratty kid in one of them, a bully, in one of the episodes. I always did kind of small stuff, but it was fun. But then people figured out I could sing, and so I started doing a lot of live theater. And I had a over 5 active range, so I started doing a lot of live shows.
When you say sing, you mean like, were you in a rock band, or did you just...
No. I sang in, musical theater, things like that. I could sing anything.
Okay.
And so, through the years, I played leads in Man of La Mancha, and I played Don Quixote. I was in the Fantastics. I toured with that show.
Wow.
Les Mis. I did a lot of shows through the years. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I toured in a lot of shows, but that was more recently, and I technically retired maybe about 12, 13 years ago. But it started as a childhood and became part of Paramount Pictures, and they sort of looked after me and trained me. I lived in the high desert out of Los Angeles, so we traveled back and forth.
Wow.
Did a lot of theater, like I said.
Yep.
And one thing led to another. I started directing actually in about '86. I directed my first live show.
Okay.
And I really am giving the Reader's Digest
No,
version
that's
because there's a
fine.
lot of stuff that
Well,
happened in there.
All right. First of all, well, so for like 26 years, from 1960 to '86, you did acting, and then you started directing as well.
That's correct.
Okay. Why did you not do any directing prior to 1986? What was the event in 1986 that prompted you to start directing?
You know, I needed a change,
Okay.
and I was still pretty young. And someone said, you know, if you ever direct a show, it'll make you a better actor because
Oh.
you'll get to see it from the other side.
Okay.
So I ended up directing Cabaret,
Okay.
which was fantastic. It was one of my favorite
One
shows.
of my
I
mother's favorite musicals.
loved the music. It was
Yep.
just a really, really great show. So I was pretty young when I directed, but I realized that I did learn a lot about acting by seeing it from the other side.
Sure.
So it was great. It was good for me. So I continue to do that. I mean, I directed, got into it, working with directing films, short films, and things like that. But it's all I've ever really done. You know, I've had other side jobs. Every starving actor's got to have something.
Oh, sure.
So I've done a lot of other things. But
Scrape bird turd off of windshields,
yeah,
car
I've
washing.
done
kind
that,
of thing?
cleaned a few toilets, became a massage therapist.
Okay.
I could do that as well. I
Cool.
could cut hair, you name it, I did it. But in the meantime, I was still always working. I was always able to support myself, so it
Sure,
was good.
sure.
It
But
was good.
acting was basically your dream all along, and that's basically what's still. But you retired. So what did you retire from 13 years ago?
Well, I decided I didn't really want to act anymore. I was kind of tired of a lot of things, learning lines, costumes, and makeup. I didn't want to do them anymore. So it turns out about 20 some odd years ago, I got asked to guest lecture at UCLA, which I
Okay.
did.
Wow.
And then people said, wow, you should really be teaching this because you're really good at this. I was like, well, yeah, you know, it's my passion and I love it. So I actually started teaching over 20 years ago at
Okay.
UCLA.
Wow.
And then I actually moved to Connecticut after my mother passed away. I'm an only child. I wanted to be really far away from California, so I ended up in Connecticut.
Okay.
And I decided that I didn't really want to do anything. I wanted to take a break, and then I found something called the New England Academy of Theater.
Okay.
And so I called them
Where's
and
it
I said,
located, in Connecticut?
it was located in Connecticut, and it was
Okay.
started by Jerry Prell, who had been on a couple soap operas, and so a lot of people sort of knew him.
I know the name.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he didn't know me, which was great because I
Yep.
tried to pretend like I was dumb. I said, hey, if you need a volunteer to come fold papers or something, because I want to keep myself kind of busy. But then he found out what my past was, and before I knew it, I was directing a small show for him. And then I started producing the Short and Neat one-act festival for the International Festival of Arts and Ideas in New Haven, which happens every year.
Okay.
That's a big event. It's coming up too. June it comes up.
Summertime usually?
Yeah, around Father's Day.
Okay.
Yeah, they do 3
Oh,
weekends.
June then.
Yeah,
Spring, late spring.
Yep, 3
Okay.
weekends they do. And then after I was there for about a year, I ended up taking over the New England Academy of Theater, and he left.
Okay.
In the meantime, I developed a show, a comedy show. I was one of the producers, helped write some of it, directed it, and then we took that on the road. So when I did that, I turned the New England Academy of Theater over to somebody else, and I ran it for a few years.
Oh, when you say on the road, how far on the road did you go? Where
We
did you,
toured all over the U.S.
All over the country?
We were
Wow.
all over, and it had a very unusual name, which offended some people. So.
You know, you don't have to repeat it here then.
Yeah. No, it was a great show. It's a pure comedy. It's a G-rated show.
Oh, it is, but the
yeah,
name-
but the title for some reason.
Well, that's interesting. So the title might discourage parents from bringing their underage children, and yet if they did, then everything else is G-rated.
It's
that's
still
unusual.
G-rated. The whole thing is G-rated.
Except the title. Except the title.
The title is, it depends who's looking at it. If it's not G-rated or not, it doesn't matter. The
Okay.
show did very well.
The show did very well.
Did super well. And then after I toured with that show, I came back and I was asked to become the vice president of a big film studio there in Connecticut called
Wow.
TriPeg.
Okay.
And,
you worked with David Gear?
Oh yeah, I know David for many, many years.
Okay.
Yeah, we've worked many, many times together through the
Cool.
years. I've cast for him actually. I found him actors and things like that.
You
He's
did
ca-
what? You did what?
He sent me. He's asked for actors before, and
Oh,
I found
okay.
him a number of actors
Cool.
through the years.
So he
yeah.
obviously respects your work as you respect his.
Oh yeah. No,
Cool.
we're friends. We've been
Oh,
friends
good. I
for
figured
many,
that.
many
He's
years.
a Connecticut guy from day one, basically.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And then I started producing we used to do a big event every year called the Film Industry Mixer. So we would bring in 2,000-3,000 guests every
Okay.
year and just do a big festival. We did that for a number of years. And then I became the vice president of TriPeg Film Studios.
Okay.
I started doing a lot of casting, primarily for Yale, Smilo, Nutrisystem during anytime they did their Super Bowl casting. Staples, and just so on and so forth. I cast a lot. I still cast a lot of stuff.
Well, wait a minute, so you're talking about bringing people in for commercials?
Yep,
Okay.
which I do all the time, and I have. So I'm kind of known for casting. Like we have a very famous flash mob commercial that takes place for Smilo Cancer Institute. It takes place at the train station. That people say, "Oh, that commercial always makes me cry, and it's so beautiful." Well, that's one of my commercials.
Okay.
So I've cast a lot of commercials, and I still cast. I'm casting right now for a number of projects.
Okay, cool.
But in the meantime, someone said, "Well, you're the president of this film studio. You should really be teaching acting." I said, I don't want to. While I was gone, something happened to the New England Academy of Theater. It kind of vanished. We don't know what happened. It disappeared, and I never really found out.
Wow.
So I said, well, I've always wanted to do something myself and teach, and I've drawn this logo, and I want to call it the Actors Gym. And this was back in 2007.
Okay, so 12 years ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I said, and I printed it out, and I put it on my wall, and I said, that's going to be my next company. And literally within about 3 weeks, I had a studio, I had an office, and I had students. And I never advertised. It was just people heard, word of mouth. And I've been full ever since, and now I do anywhere from 2 to 3 classes a week.
Wow.
I've changed locations. I built my own studio that has a small theater in it.
Where is your current studio?
My current studio is in Hamden, Connecticut.
Hamden, okay, nice
Yep.
town, very quiet area.
Yep, it's a really nice area. It's right on the edge of New Haven.
Right.
So it's busy all the time,
Yep.
and people rent my space for filming. Because additionally, I then started a production company called Let's Do This Productions.
Cool.
You want something done? Let's do this.
Yep, okay.
And then we started producing web series. We started producing short films. We started producing some commercials.
Right.
So along with casting, teaching, I've got a theater. It just keeps exploding.
Right.
I've never planned any of it. Let me tell you, it just all just sort of happened.
Okay, this is post-retirement though.
Yes.
Okay, but it keeps you pretty busy now.
I work more now than I ever did.
Right,
so,
right.
But I get to do it because I want to do it. That's the beauty.
I always say everything happens for a reason, and at the beginning you didn't even want to do it, but
Correct.
Something lit a fire under you, and now you love it.
I do. Well,
Okay.
and here's the thing, Connecticut's kind of a funny place sometimes for that. People don't realize how many movies we shoot there and how much film we do, and surrounding, of course, in Massachusetts
Right.
and Vermont, actually all around us, and of course in New York. And I'm well connected in New York. I do a lot of projects there as well. But there's a lot going on, and the local papers don't write about me a whole lot, but the New York Times has written about me, and they call me the premier acting studio. They call me the actor's advocate, and I really appreciate it. Yeah.
You're not too far from New York either, being in here. I mean, if you're New Haven is like it's only about 30, 40 miles from Bridgeport. Is that how the geography of this?
No,
right,
yeah, it's closer than that actually.
Is it?
So
Okay.
I can take a train from New Haven into New York. It takes me an hour and 35 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we zip back and forth. And being in California, I think everything's close.
Now, did you say you were planning to eventually go back out to California?
I'm going to go back out west, I think.
Okay,
I don't know about California. I'm looking at New Mexico right now.
Okay.
I'm looking at Phoenix, perhaps.
Okay.
But I miss the West. I
miss
do
the
miss
West.
a lot. I've been here 20 years, though. As of April 18th, I've been here 20 years.
Congratulations. Okay. So when you go out there, are you going to bring the Actors Studio or the Actors Gym with you?
I'm thinking of a...
I mean, it's obvious you don't want to stop doing whatever. I mean, it's obvious you're not going to retire from forever. I mean, if you retire from one thing, you want to keep busy and you're going to do something else.
Well, luckily, I started by accident. I started doing headshots.
Nothing accidental. Obviously, everything happens for a reason.
3 years ago, I started doing headshots because of some unfortunate circumstances with some other people I had who were doing them for me.
Yep.
And so to save an actor, I said, well, let me shoot a few shots. She goes, oh, my God, those shots got me all kinds of work. You should be doing this. So I said, oh, what the heck? You want something done, ask a busy person.
Okay.
So I'll start doing headshots. And so I've been doing those. So part of me thinks if I go back out west that rather than just completely retire for sure, I would still be doing photography. Because I love it, and I have a production company. I like filming, and I know how to edit. I actually teach every aspect of production there is, so I might continue to teach as well.
But you don't think you'll ever go back to acting at all?
Well, I am acting.
You are.
Actually, you talk about Charlie, who you had on as a guest, Charlie Tacker. He's amazing. He was one of my acting students, and I've worked with him. I've cast him. He's in one of my web series. He and I actually shot a film together about 4 years ago, and we're waiting for that thing to finally be finished. It's got a lot of special effects.
I think it's a full-length feature.
It's going to be it's a short film, but it's very involved.
Okay.
And I play somebody who lives in the forest who sort of always looked after his mother, and he loses his mother. And so it's just him, and so now I sort of keep a watchful eye on him, and it's kind of a magical film.
Wow.
So
That's pretty good. Charlie was somebody that you befriend in the film.
He did, and in real life, he's like one of my own kids. I love that kid so much. So you know,
I interviewed him twice. I interviewed him when he was 9 and back in 2012.
Yep.
And I interviewed him. Actually, that was 3 weeks ago that I interviewed him.
Yeah.
And it was great. Both interviews were awesome, and I know that he's so busy with his things going on in New York and everything.
Well, he's in my web series. He's in Pleading Sanity, actually.
Okay.
I play a bum in that, actually. I have a little cameo appearance. He actually kills me in that.
Oh,
so.
okay. I'll have to watch.
It's pretty fun.
Watch for that. That's
really
that's
fun.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Because he's such an easygoing guy, you wouldn't expect any violence out of him.
No, but that was what was fun. Let him get to do something a little bit different.
Okay.
So he's actually one of the stars.
I know he is. And when you're acting, you got to be diverse anyway.
You do.
Okay, so talk anything musical now going on with you, like before?
So musical, not so much.
Okay.
Not right now. I mean, I produce stuff, and I have within the Actors Gym, we do a lot of things. So not only do we have a production company, we have a theater.
Right.
We also have development. So we have people that come and we do roundtables, and we've developed original scripts.
Okay.
We have several film scripts that have come out of it. And one of those film scripts that we've actually sort of helped somebody with, I'm actually going to be directing as a feature film the end of June, called The Dangerfields. And it takes place from 1960 to 1964, a time I dimly remember.
Anything
but
you
it should be
do
fun.
dimly remember. You must remember. Well, I remember those times.
I do remember it. It was a great
It
time.
wouldn't have anything to do with like minefields, would it?
You mean Rodney Dangerfield?
No, no respect. No, like minefields, like around like in Southeast Asia during that era.
No. This is called The Dangerfield. So what it is, it's about.
Oh, Dangerfield. No.
Get it? Rodney Dangerfield?
Rodney Dangerfield, right.
It's about 4 young guys in high school that decide to impress the girls. They're going to start a band.
Oh, okay.
And they're terrible. And so they get no respect.
They get no respect.
But in their minds, they're pretty good. So they keep working at it, and they actually become pretty good.
Okay.
So it's kind of a cute film.
What do the girls do? Do they like it?
Well, of
We gotta
course,
see the
you know, you
film.
got to see the film.
All
But
right,
they're
that's fine.
singers too. They got their own singing group, so it's got some music. It's got a little bit of everything. And I start auditions for it actually next week.
Okay.
I'm going to be putting a call out for that.
That's great. Now you mentioned you did comedy theater. Does that include stand-up at all?
We had, my
You've
place
done-
is set up for stand-up comedy.
It
And
is.
I've done stand-up comedy, and I used to have an amazing teacher
Okay.
who actually had a lot of people do very well in Boston. And she,
wanna
her name
name
was
her?
Paula Coco
Okay.
was her name. And she was actually one of the writers of the show I was talking about that we toured with.
Okay.
And she would teach stand-up comedy, and she had a lot of successful. As a matter of fact, she was in West Hartford, and she had an improv troupe that was very successful called The Wit, West
Okay.
Hartford Improv Troupe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. But now what about in the future? You don't think that's going to be, I mean, you never know. From what I get from you is that your heart is open to anything.
It is.
It is, so.
I'm pretty open. You know what? I'm a lover of talent,
Yeah.
all talent, and I will help develop any talent. I have one rule at my studio,
Yeah.
and I have a beautiful studio. It's
Wait a
all
minute, what's
remodeled.
the rule? Respect everybody?
I have one rule. It's on my door of my office. It says, leave your ego at the door.
Okay.
And that's the only rule. Because as soon as your ego comes in, it kills everything.
It's true.
It destroys dreams. It destroys people. It destroys everything. And I think that's why we have so many successful actors. And people know my actors. They know J.P. Valenti. They know Charlie. They know a lot
How's
of people.
JP doing now? Didn't he go down, isn't he in Atlanta now?
He is,
Yeah.
and doing quite well.
Well, I'd like
Yeah.
to get him on the show, but I guess he's probably not coming back
He
here.
just did. I have a talk show called Gym Chat.
Okay.
And we did a couple of preliminary episodes, and he was my first guest.
Oh,
on
was he?
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he came up to Connecticut to be on your show?
Yeah, he
Okay.
did. Well, when he's in town, he comes and visits. You know, he's one of my kids.
Yeah, I understand. Well,
I love him.
I'd like to, I know he's doing well in Atlanta. I guess there was a lot of stuff happening there.
Yeah.
Now, what's going to happen to the Actors Gym when you leave Connecticut? I mean, are you going to leave it with someone else? I mean, they're going to be pretty sorry to see you go, I'm guessing.
Well, someone said to me, why don't you, how would you continue it? And somebody said, would you consider selling it? Well, I never thought about it that way. But
I know, but whether if you're leaving, you're basically the straw that stirs the drink. So even if you sell it, it'll never be the same without you. There's going to be a lot of teary-eyed people, I'm guessing, including you.
I'd like to think that's true, but yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, like I said, I've never advertised a class, and I sell out
It doesn't
every
matter.
class.
You've already got tons of people.
I think
now.
that's what makes me really proudest is that people come because it's a very specific industry.
Right.
People come because of word of mouth. And on Facebook, Actors Gym group page, we have 4,700 followers on there alone.
Yeah,
So
that's incredible.
yeah,
And hopefully after tonight's show, you'll have even more.
I'll take them.
Well, what do you have any? Do you have a set time when you're leaving for the coast, or is it still up?
I'm
in the
looking
air?
at about 2 years right
Oh,
now.
okay, so you still got so it's
I
not
got some
like,
projects I'm doing still
Right.
here. I got to get finished, and some other actors. And I jokingly say to some of my senior actors, because I have a ongoing class on Tuesday nights.
Yep.
Some of those actors have been coming to me for 14 years.
Wow.
They've been coming every Tuesday night. It's like a family, and it is a real family. But I jokingly, one of them's name is Tim, and I always say, when I leave, it'll be called the Tim Gym,
Okay.
or somebody else, the Rick Gym, or whoever at the time. So
Of course.
you never know. They're very talented. They're very skilled, and I always get great feedback from directors and producers that say, "Wow, I know when they come from you, they're going to be prepared."
Okay.
So that
So-
makes me proud.
Right. Now, we talked a little bit about IMDb, and I know you're on it for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But you don't really hold it in. You don't really look at it as such a big deal for some reason. You
I
want
never have.
Why is that?
I was on it quite a bit back, I'm going to say, many, many years ago when it first was just really exploding online. When the
Well, I
whole
believe it
internet
started
thing-
in 1970, so you had already been acting for 10 years.
for a long time.
Right.
But when it started exploding online,
Yeah.
when it was on the internet, I took myself off of it only because there was so many people that were falsifying it. They were able to put phony information. So
Oh,
what it
okay.
said to me is, it doesn't really mean anything. And as a casting director, I've never used it. I
Okay.
never look for anybody that way because I think people are only as good as the last thing they did. And the proof's always in the pudding. And the fact that I'm constantly working and I know so many people and I'm
Right.
always connected, it doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
And I'm on there apparently again after I took myself. It cost me money to get
That's what you
myself
told
off of
me,
it.
yeah.
But I'm on it all over different places. But I'm not because I don't have a membership. I don't have them all in one membership.
Right. You're kind of scattered hither and yon.
Yep.
And so if your picture's on there, I have a hunch nobody's going to have any trouble recognizing you for any.
Well, they want to charge me money to put my picture
No, I
on
know
there,
they do.
so I don't. I don't
know
care.
it's like a $150 a year to stay on it for IMDb Pro.
Yeah.
But I like it because and you're going to get an extra credit for being on my show tonight.
Ah, great.
Right. Because my publicist, I don't know if you know Angel Cornell he lives in Providence.
I don't.
He's a really cool guy. He does.
Nice.
He's a writer and an actor too. If you guys ever have the chance to meet up, definitely
Fantastic.
take it. He's written something. He just got an LA short film award.
Nice.
And yeah, he's really cool. And he found my show a few years ago, and he liked it so much he decided to put it on IMDb, and without even telling me. And then when he finally contacted me, he didn't charge me a dime for it. The agreement we had was that through 2016, he put all my shows up, and he was on my final guest of 2016, which, ironically, was not a milestone speaking, and in a stance of a milestone. Ironic milestone was number 300. Show number 300, and the agreement was that starting in 2017, I take the account over myself and put all my shows up, which I have been doing.
Wow.
Which is really awesome because he showed me how to do it. He
Yeah,
sent
it's
me
not
a PDF.
hard.
It's not hard, but you still got to do it regularly, and you keep. And every time I add a show, the list grows. It's amazing. And
Well, I'm on there
it's
for a
really-
lot of things. I'm on there for producing, for
Yeah.
directing, for acting, but I'm kind of all over. Like somebody said, "Oh, I found you under Reno 40 or something."
Okay.
Somebody listed me as Reno 40. Like it's not all Reno Venturi. And my real first name is Cesarino, so I'm also listed as Cesarino some places.
Cool.
So
Okay.
Reno's my real first
Just
name.
curious,
but it's part
is it I take it the 40 had something to do with the year you were born?
of it. No, I'm not quite that old.
Good. Okay. Well, guess what, Reno? We're down to the final 5 minutes of the show.
Fantastic.
So what I want you to do in the final 5 minutes is just first thing I'm going to do is ask you to do is to give shouts out to people that are going to see the show because a lot of them are going to see it. A lot of people watch Topic Time. You can start with your friend over there that you brought with you and say hi
Yeah,
to him.
well, Charles is my
Charles.
main support.
Okay.
Charles is a great support.
And
Yeah.
we had to actually talk him into coming in here to watch us. He was going to sit out in the parking lot after being on the road with you for 4
Well,
hours.
he's an artist, and he's one of those quiet artists, and he does beautiful, abstract, gorgeous stuff.
Well,
and-
like I told him, maybe we'd like to get him on the show too, and that's why I wanted him to watch because I was hoping he'd get an idea of what he'd be in for if he came on as a guest, just like you.
Well,
did.
he's done a few. I've set him up in a few talk shows, and he's done some in Connecticut. He's
There you go.
yeah, and
Okay.
so no, he's good at it. There's just too many people. I am surrounded by amazing people, and I'm really fortunate that I get to do what I do every year. And I tell people this all the time. How lucky am I that for all these years I've always gotten to do exactly what I love. So when people tell me how miserable they are in their lives, I'm like, it's a choice. It's a choice. You don't like your job? Don't do
something
it.
else.
Do something you love.
That's why I'm here.
There you go.
Okay, so go ahead. So give some other shouts out for your family members, your son if you want, or anybody that anybody. And then
Hey, Rodney,
and
love you.
Charlie, whatever. maybe JP.
Yeah, well, the thing is all my kids know I love them. And I actually have several nicknames. They call me lots of things. As a matter of fact, J.P. Valente, years ago, he gave me a necklace, and it's a Thoth. Do you know who Thoth is? It's, it's an Egyptian god of knowledge.
Oh, okay.
And so he bought me when I wear it. And now several of my students have bought me Thoth statues. They're in my office. So they call me Papa T, which is where he came up with that name.
Okay.
They call me Pop. They call me Big Daddy. I got all these names. So apparently I'm everyone's dad. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Oh, okay.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay, that's cool.
and I love them all like my own. So like every one of these kids, I would do anything for them.
So after the event in June in New Haven, what's the or when you what's it the theater festival?
Yes.
Okay.
International Festival of Arts and Ideas.
What do you plan? I mean, you're just going to keep teaching your class on Tuesday nights for
Yep.
now.
I teach there, and I do some teaching at Yale.
Okay. Oh, you teach at
I
Yale
do
too?
Yep. I do a
Okay.
lot of private coaching, one-on-ones with actors constantly.
What do you teach at Yale?
Well, so I teach improvisation, believe it or not, in their medical department.
Okay.
Go figure,
Teach
because-
people how to act sick.
No, no. I teach doctors how to have better bedside manner because
Oh,
it's
wow.
improvisation.
That's fantastic.
I'm getting ready to teach an improv class, but I also have taught improv for big insurance companies.
Okay.
I've gone and taught at the police department. Improvisation's kind of a great foundation, and if everybody lived by the rules of improv, there would never be a war and people would never fight, because the first rule is to accept. You don't have to agree.
I know.
You just
It's
accept.
not easy. It's not easy. And if you can, and I believe me, I have a hard time accepting stuff too. And I try
Yeah.
try as I might.
It's
and I
hard.
I try to check my ego out, especially when I come in here and do my show.
Yeah.
Because I do have a big ego. I admit it. I don't know if I wouldn't mind sitting in one of your acting classes, but I don't know if I could if I pass or.
You'd have fun. Well, we're getting ready to do an improv class coming up next, the beginning of the next month. I have a workshop coming up on May 4th, which is an audition
Well, what I
workshop.
ask, I don't know if I could make the class, but if you want to get some, I'd love it if you could get some of your actors on my show.
Oh yeah, I've got lots and lots and
I
lots.
know you do.
Lots of actors, and you know a lot of them,
I
so
know
that's
well,
cool.
There's plenty I don't know. Well, guess what? We're going to wrap the show up. I hope
Great.
you had a good time with me.
Great time. It was
Thanks for
excellent.
watching Topic Time. More episodes to follow. See you next time. There we go. I got to get a new player.